What is the truth behind Donald Trump's tariffs? Some people are asking, how can he be so stupid as to misunderstand the facts on foreign trade and, in the process of seeking revenge, crash world markets, wiping trillions of value off of every publicly traded company? Others claim that Trump knows exactly what he's doing, and whilst that might be hard to believe, Trump is simply following the playbook of Putin to devalue American and world companies, putting Russia on a more equal footing and enabling the oligarchs to buy back into the markets at much lower rates. When Trump reverses course, they'll take advantage of the dip and get even richer in the climb. Seems hard to believe.
And so China is, they say the market's spoken. China is right now taking a big hit because everyone knows we're right. They have to pay tariffs because otherwise we have a surplus and they have a surplus with us that is not sustainable.
Another explanation is the one that MAGA Republicans and Trump's base of supporters are running with, that Trump knows exactly what he's doing and is crashing the markets to rebalance the world economy with the US on top, taking the opportunity to punish our trading partners for royally screwing us over. Except the US was already on top. It has the world's largest economy. It already was the global trade leader. Free trade is why the US has done so well. I mean, how much more is there to gain? Which begs the question, maybe this trade war was never about trade in the first place. Maybe it's just about manipulating the markets for a brief period. Long enough for the rich to get richer, for Trump to grow his support with the billionaire class, and for him to assert his authoritarian bravado over every country in the world, be their friend or foe. Well, actually not foe, because there's no tariffs on Russia.
I spoke to a lot of leaders, European, Asian, from all over the world. They're dying to make a deal. But I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country. We're not going to do that, because to me a deficit is a loss. We're going to have surpluses, or we're at worst going to be breaking even. But China would be the worst in the group because the deficit is so big and it's not sustainable. And I was elected on this. This was one of the biggest reasons I got elected, was exactly because of this.
Trump loves nothing more than world leaders groveling to him. And what better way to flex his dictatorial muscles than extortion? This is how he ran his businesses. This is all he knows when it comes to diplomacy. Pull the rug out from underneath the world economy and watch it bleed. This is why he said this week, to the many investors coming into the United States and investing massive amounts of money, my policies will never change. This is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. Of course, he's lying, but we're not supposed to know that.
Is there pain in the market? At some point, you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of what Trump put. Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I think it's I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. And we have such a horrible, we have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen. They took our businesses, they took our money, they took our jobs, they moved it to Mexico, they moved it to Canada, they moved a lot of it to China, and it's not sustainable. We're not going to do it. Now we have hundreds of billions of dollars is pouring into our country. On a monthly basis, it's pouring, it's already started because I put tariffs on. And eventually it's going to straighten out and our country will be solid and strong again.
Elon Musk has said he hopes for zero tariffs between the U.S. and Europe. Is that a place you'd like to also get to?
Well, the problem is that Europe has made a fortune with us. Europe also has had a tremendous surplus with the United States. Europe has treated us, it's a little smaller, but they've treated us very, very badly. China has, but Europe has also. Europe has been very, very bad to us. Europe has taken our leaders for a ride. They don't take our cars. They don't take our food products. They don't take anything. And we take their cars, Mercedes, Volkswagen, BMW. We take their millions of cars. They take no cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. Europe's treated us very badly. We put a big tariff on Europe. They are coming to the table. They want to talk. But there's no talk unless they pay us a lot of money on a yearly basis, number one for present, but also for past, because they've taken a lot of our wealth away, and we're not going to allow it to happen.
So why is there a libertarian group financially supported by figures like Leonard Leo and Charles Koch initiating legal action, challenging the tariff policies implemented by Trump? This indicates growing opposition within right-wing circles to the policies, which have negatively impacted global markets. The new Civil Liberties Alliance filed a lawsuit contesting Trump's imposition of import tariffs on Chinese goods. They argue that the use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the legal basis Trump has cited for tariffs affecting numerous countries, is illegitimate. This legal challenge aligns with recent actions by 4 Republican senators who supported a Democratic proposal to reverse the 25% tariffs on Canadian imports. Last week, former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, along with Senators Rand Paul, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski, voted for the amendment, citing the potential economic damage of the Canadian tariffs. The new Civil Liberties Alliance lawsuit carries significant weight due to its backing from Koch, a prominent industrialist, and Leo, a legal strategist who played a key role in Trump's appointments of 3 conservative Supreme Court justices, thereby solidifying the court's 6-3 MAGA Republican far-right conservative majority. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of Simplified, a Florida-based company specializing in home goods, which relies heavily on Chinese imports. The alliance asserts that Trump has overstepped his authority by invoking the IEEPA to justify the tariffs. The alliance claims that tariff-setting authority resides with Congress, not the executive. The lawsuit disputes the link between tariffs and the fentanyl crisis, which Trump cited as justification for invoking his emergency powers. Of course, Trump criticized Rand Paul and the other Republican senators who supported the amendment, claiming that they have Trump derangement syndrome. It's always convenient when that happens. Further illustrating Republican concerns, Senators Chuck Grassley and Maria Cantrell, they introduced legislation to limit Trump's tariff authority, requiring congressional approval within 60 days. The White House Budget Office announced that Trump intends to veto the bill. And in a rare note of opposition to Trump, U.S. Senator Ted Cruz has criticized what could be a terrible outcome from tariffs unleashed on other countries, which he argued would set the stage for a bloodbath during the 2026 midterms. Cruz spoke out on his latest episode of his podcast, detailing his concerns about the political risk Republicans may wager if Trump decides to leave tariffs in place. He called the consequences of the latest move really harmful and warned of the possibility of an impending recession.
But I do want to solve the deficit problem that we have with China, with the European Union and other nations. And they're going to have to do that. And if they want to talk about that, I'm open to talking. But otherwise, why would I want to talk?
JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon warned today that trade wars could have lasting negative consequences, days after he and other bank CEOs met with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to discuss the administration's tariffs. The economy is facing considerable turbulence, Dimon wrote. We are likely to see inflationary outcomes. Whether or not the menu of tariffs causes a recession remains in question, but it will slow down growth. Dimon is one of the prominent voices in corporate America and has regularly been consulted by administrations during times of crisis. The economists at JP Morgan raised the risk of a US and global recession this year from 40 to 60% after Trump unveiled the trade barriers.
And we're the piggy bank. We have all the advantages. Forget markets for a second. We have all the advantages. We'll get it straight out. We're going to become a wealthy nation again. Wealthy like never before. And we're not going to let other nations that have been ripping us off, whether it's China or the European Union, with all of the European nations that have just made it's been like a feast. Look, the European Union was formed for one reason. You know what that was? To rip off the United States. So put that in your bonnet.
This afternoon, China threatened to retaliate further against the US if Trump carries out his threat to raise the tariff on Chinese goods by an additional 50%, as millions of Americans with 401ks watch their retirement funds diminish, along with the stock market. Trump takes advice from people with an ulterior motive. His circle of trust is small, and nobody of any worth wants to work for him, so he's left with a bunch of opportunists and crackpots and strays telling him exactly what he wants to hear. And consequently, the world suffers. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.